So yes, absolutely. There are important legal questions here. There is a federal law that prevents anyone from paying somebody or giving them other incentives to register to vote. So that is clear. The question is whether paying somebody, offering a sweepstakes of $1 million to sign a petition, whether that in itself could constitute an incentive for someone to say, hey, I'm going to go register so I can win the sweepstakes. So it's coming up very close to the line. We have polled legal experts on this, and they are divided. Some people say, no, it's not quite there, but it looks, bad. It's not the spirit of our election. Others are saying this is a clear violation. And in fact, the DOJ has come out saying you can't provide incentives. And we had a case back in 2008 where consumer companies like Starbucks and Ben & Jerry's were offering people ice cream and free coffee if they showed their I voted sticker, and they had to back off on that and open up the offer to everybody, regardless of whether they voted or not, because they risked violating a federal law.
Yeah, but the question is if you're the wealthiest person in the world and you're 15 days away from an election that you deem is crucial and you want it to go a certain way, does it really matter that what he's doing could be viewed as something that's not allowed? Are there any consequences here?
Well, so what we're seeing is really unprecedented for American elections. I mean, this is like turning our political process into a sweepstakes, and this is the implication of having a big megaphone, like a platform like X, and big money that you can spread around like this. So I think there's going to be a lot of grappling with this issue and how we're going to grapple with it as a country and as a political system going forward.
Well, and to Tim's point, Sara, I think about, okay, so he does it, and so there will be a lawsuit down the road or something like these. We see this
maybe potentially after an election that we have no idea how it's going to play out, and we have no idea if this will actually work to get Trump elected, which is his goal.
Exactly.
But if that is the ultimate consequence of this, then I would imagine he probably doesn't care what price he has to pay.
That's the point. So what? Like, if it influences the election, I mean, I don't know. Could we then have a lawsuit a month later or 2 months later that says, okay, wait a minute, now we need to rethink the outcome?
Or a presidential pardon?
Right.
Well, on the legal team, we are bracing for all the legal consequences and implications of the issues that are being raised in this election. We've seen over 160 cases filed already. The whole effort seems to be to throw doubt on the outcome. This is an neck and neck race, so the stakes are really high on both sides.
Does that mean that after the night, I mean, we've all talked about this in the newsroom, we've talked about it on air, that the night of the election, many don't expect that we're going to have some kind of outcome. I don't know if that's the case, but there's just a lot of conversation around it. But because of these lawsuits, does that also put off us really knowing who will be in the White House?
Potentially, yes. Yeah. So we could see, days and just vote counting and getting the tallies because of the process and the need to count, the mail-in ballots and the overseas votes and all of that. And then the issues which are ranging from, voter registration, culling the forms. We even have DOJ involved in 2 cases in Virginia and in Alabama. So there's, I think the focus of this election, my prediction, is very quickly going to turn to the legal process and how it withstands this pressure.
Where does that legal process play out? Where geographically, but also where in the court system?
Well, it could start in even county and state courts. It can move into federal courts, and we're even working on the potential that it goes to the Supreme Court. We've already written some stories about that. We don't know exactly which cases are likely to flare up, because it also depends on how close the votes are in which states and what issues are brought up around those
and how
votes.
close votes are would trigger certain different types of outcomes, i.e. recounts and the like.
Exactly. Recounts and potential challenges to the results. So we're also looking at the certification process very closely, and whether states are going to perform their traditional function of certifying the vote. There's been a lot of criticism and questioning thrown on that process itself. So there are a lot of possibilities. Probably the only thing that would forestall this scenario is if there's a landslide result.